Good afternoon, everybody, and a very warm welcome to Mildenhall and Districts. And my name is Susanna, and I live with trains. And today is going to be an update video on the Class 73. So this is going to be part 2 and part 3 in one video. Now, the first part you've already seen in a previous video, and today we're going to look at part 2, which is going to be basically fitting the new speaker into my Coastal DCC chip to go with my Pullman 73. And then part 3 is going to be an update on my South West Trains Dapol 73. So if you like the sound of that, then stay tuned and we'll find out more together. So this week, like I said, a few more bits arrived, and I received another one of these speakers, and this isn't an EM1. This is the same bass reflex speaker that is in my Dapol 73. And one of the reasons why I got this one, well, there's a couple of reasons. One of the reasons I've got this is because this is the same, like I said, the same speaker that's in the Dapol 73. So I was curious to find out the actual sound difference between the two chips using the same speaker. Second of all, this speaker I got off of eBay. Now, I saw that Richard over in Roads and Rails on eBay have got these on sale. And, well, he was asking, I put them on my watch list and I was thinking about it, and he sent me an offer on it. But basically they were £7 each, I believe it was. I managed to find this exact same speaker elsewhere on eBay for £4.50. So that's quite a big saving there. So I got that speaker, so that's what this one is. This arrived this week. So this is the same speaker that's currently in the Dapol 73. So like I said, I'm going to be curious to see just what the difference is between the chips, and see if I can get a better sound quality out of that Coastal DCC chip than what's in it at the moment. Like I said, my issue with it is that it's a bit on the low side, so I just want it higher and I want it to sound better. Then that'd be great. Also this week that arrived for my 73s is from Model Transport Graphics, and again, he's on eBay. You can search it out. Like I think it's a Class 73 head code boxes or something, head codes. And basically I got a set of head codes, and again, these are for my 73, but you could probably use those numbers on other ones, like such as the 33, for example. You could probably put them on the 33 because they're very similar. You could probably use these on some like the DEMU and the EMUs, which are like these little multiple units, because they ran with head code boxes. And you could probably use them on VEPs and things like that as well, because they use them, whether they use the same numbers. But is anyone going to be that bothered about the actual numbers themselves? Maybe not. I got this because these are for the 73 specifically, and it's actually got number. I don't know if it shows up because it's in the polythene, but it actually says 52 on it. 52 is the head code box for Alton, so that's what's going to go on the front. I think these are self-adhesive. I think from what I know, from what I can tell, I can't remember 100%, but I think they're self-adhesive. But we'll find out. So, what I wanted to do before I started was to stick the 73 Pullman on the track, and I've got on my phone, my old phone, and I've showed you this before. There's this program or this app called Sound Meter, and as you can see, as I'm talking, it kind of fluctuates and it goes up and down, and it measures the decibels and things, and it gives you kind of like roughly whether it's a quiet room or whether it's a library, whether it's heavy traffic, and it kind of gives you that kind of, so you kind of know. So I wanted to read the decibel reading on the 73 as it currently stands, and then remeasure it at the end and see if it's made any difference. So let's go find out. So as you can see on the right, you've got my current phone, and the dial's going up and down as I'm chatting away because it's obviously picking up my voice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be quiet. I'm going to start up the 73, wait for it to settle, and then we'll see what the average is. So you've got a minimum, an average, and a maximum. So let's start with the diesel. So as you can see, it's sort of hovering around the 60, 62 mark. The average was about 40, but that was steadily climbing. But if you're looking at the main gauge, it's about 60. So it'd be quite interesting to see what the Dapol comes up with, and also how much of a difference it's going to make on this chip. Now I'm going to check the CV on this to see whether or not the CV63 is set to its maximum, so we'll check that as well. So here we are, back on the bench, and I just wanted to show you my 73 as things stand. I've now soldered it, just so you can see what I've done. Now, what I neglected to tell you is that I realised that this actually is a hybrid. This is a Hornby railroad chassis with the Pullman body on it. And I remember changing it now because the old ring-filled motor that was in it when it was a complete Lima was making too much noise that it was drowning out the sound. So I swapped it over for the new chassis with the new with a newer tower motor in it, and also because it had the DCC plug fitted in it. So the 964, which I showed you in a previous video, is actually the chassis that was on this one, hybrid as it were. So as you can see, it's got the body on it at the moment, but what I've done is, as you can see, it's got the railroad plus tower motor, the newer motor on it, and it also runs better. That was the other thing. That's why I swapped the chassis over. So I've got the speaker just literally planted right smack bang in the middle, and it's facing upwards. There's a small hole on the top there. I would have liked to have possibly gone onto the fuel tank, because I could have done that, but the way that the weight is mounted on here, it's literally just either glued on or something like that, so you can't get it out. So this is the next best thing, but it all fits and it sounds really good. I think, to be honest, it still would have benefited from the EM1 speaker in it, but it does to my ears sound better because I have actually tested it. So I'm going to take you to the bench shortly, and we're gonna test it and have a look at it, and then we'll move on to part 3. So here we are back on the track. We've got the sound meter going again, and I just wanted to show you, hopefully you can see that I've now put the head code on the front of the 73. It makes it so much nicer. The head code number on there is the typical number for the Pullman 73. Did some research on it, so that's what it has on the front. So it's the same number as what it has on a prototypical Pullman 73. And on the back, I've put some reds on there, some red markers. So basically, you could the body lifts up really easily. So if there's a problem in the direction that it runs better in one direction or the other, I could just lift the body up, swap it around, because there isn't no. It's exactly the same. It's totally symmetrical. So it's just a straight swap. Now is the moment of truth of the sound. I have listened to it, and to my ears, it sounds better. Now, if I just play you the horns, I think it would show you. I think it's always a telltale sign is when you listen to the horns, because I always think if you get a good clarity on the horns, it's good sound. It definitely sounds better than it did before, in my view. Generally speaking, the idling and the average is higher, so it's definitely louder. Not by a huge amount, but it is a bit louder than what it was before. But I actually think it sounds better than what the other one was that was on the other one. The speaker that was on it before, I should say. Let's send it back the other way. Just in its idling now, it's idling well over 70, which it wasn't doing before. To my ears, it just sounds better. Now, I think the electric on this was number 7, so it's number 7 for the electric, so let's shut this down. Oh, sorry, that was number function 11. My apologies. Let's go back there. That definitely sounds better. It's not a huge amount higher, but it is higher and it is better. Definitely well worth swapping out the speaker there. I can't remember what speaker I had in it before, but this has got the exact same speaker as on the Dapol 73. Excellent stuff. I'm really pleased with that. So that's the shutdown. So I'm going to just lift the 73 off so you can see the head code boxes. As you can see, it's got number 4 on it, and on the back I've just put the reds on it so I'll only be travelling one direction anyway. I may very well put some lighting in this at some point, but it definitely looks better than than what it had before. So I think, generally speaking, it's a huge improvement on this, and I'm really pleased with the sound that's coming out of it now. I think it's really, really cool. So I'm really pleased with that. So I've now got this 73 up and running. So this is part 3 of the video, and we're now going to be talking about the update on my Dapol 73, because there has actually been a development. Now, when I last left you, I'd had the loco and the high intensity light facing in the right direction, and it was going in the right direction. And I was very, very pleased with that I finally managed to get some sort of lighting working on my 73 without the cab lights on. So I took the opportunity to thank Paul and Kevin for their advice. And whilst I was speaking to Paul at my local model shop, I said to him, look, thank you so much for helping me. Changing the wires over definitely helped and sorted out the high intensity light. But unfortunately, I can't get the head code lights to work properly. I'm assuming it's just to do with the wiring. And he said to me, well, what's it doing? And I said to him, well, basically the headlight and the head code box will come on, and as soon as I move away, the headlight just goes out. But I'm just assuming it's to do with the wiring with the 73. And he said to me, well, not necessarily. It sounds like he might have mapped it in such a way that it was to do that, and it's confirmed, well, at least it confirms to me and to him that it's got the wrong chip in it. It should have had a version 2. I was actually asked and told by Lego Man Biffo that it was a version 1. In fact, it should have been a version 2. Now, it's been confirmed because if you have this particular type, now I'm not going to suggest for 1 minute that if you've got one of the other liveries, that it's going to be a version 2 or version 3 or version 1. But how I ended up finding out was by sheer kind of stupidity on my part, to be honest, because I overlooked a vital piece of information on the paperwork that came with the Dapol 73. And it's the same sheet of paper that I showed you previously about where all the switches are. But the first clue okay, donut, came in the form of the paperwork itself. And at the very top, it says Class 73 PCB V2, version 2. Donut that I am. It also says, gives you some further information, which says it has got the improved PCB board, and that somehow went over my head. So if any of you have a Dapol 73 that you want to put sound into and you're not sure what it is, then the first thing to do is see if it has that information on the top of this sheet that says Class 73 PCB version whatever. Because then, wherever you get your chip from, whether it's from Roads and Rails, whether it's from Lego Man Biffo, whether it's from Coastal, you can turn around and explain to them and say, I would like to put a sound chip in my Class 73. This is the version I have. Is it going to be a problem? Or what are the consequences of it, not having the right one? Because I'm still not 100% certain if by doing version 2 it would correct the lights on the head code boxes. Now, either way, a massive thank you goes out to Paul at my local model shop. Now, I've always said I'm trying to be as impartial as I can, and when people give me good customer services, I will promote it, and when they don't, I will also promote it, because I'm trying to be impartial. You know, like I said, I don't get paid by anybody to say anything good or bad or whatever. I just see it how I see it from my point of view. I mean, obviously other people who deal with these people might have different experiences, but I'm only going by what experiences that I've had. So Paul says to me, I tell you what, he said, it sounds like it's a CV issue rather than a wiring issue. And I questioned this. I said, are you sure? And he said to me that it does sound like it. He said, if you bring it in and leave it with me, and I will take a look at it. So this was on, I think this was on Friday or Saturday. It was either Friday or Saturday. And I dropped the 73 with him. And on Tuesday, because he doesn't open on Mondays, I had the locomotive back working. Basically, Paul managed to remap the chip, and only remap if that's the right terminology, forgive me if it's wrong, but basically he's remapped only the lighting functions that Lego and Biffa had put on, which was functions 19, 20 and 21. So those are the only ones he's remapped for it to work. It now works how I want it to work. And Paul actually emailed me during the weekend and said to me, this is what I've done. What do you think? Are you happy with this setup? If you're not, please let me know, and I can remap it to how you want it. And I was just like, Paul, I'm so grateful that you've managed to do it, and I'm absolutely overjoyed and over the moon that he's done it. And I will show you in just a moment. What I will say to you is I cannot wholeheartedly sit here and say that if I bought the version 2 chip from Legoman Biffo, whether it would 100% work correctly, the lighting wise, because I don't have it. So I don't know exactly whether it would work in the same manner in which mine is now working. So, but what I will say is that you now know where to look for this information in terms of which versions you need. Basically, it's on the sheet at the top. And that should tell you which version sound chip you require. So, to be honest with you, it's partially my fault because of the fact that I should have really, when I looked at this, the top bit just passed me by and I didn't even record in my head. But, however, I did speak to Legoman Charlie at DC Kits for the Legoman chip, and I did actually specifically ask him. And he went off and checked and told me I needed the version 1, so he did actually sell me the version 1. Which is the wrong one. And also his customer services and aftercare was 0. But thankfully, I know a man who can help me. And so to Paul at my local model shop, thank you so much for doing this. I so much appreciate it, because it just, now I've got everything I want out of this 73. You know, I've now got the sound I want. The cab lights don't work because I've switched them off, which is fine. Because there's nothing I can really do about the cab lights, which is fine. I don't want them on anyway. Because you don't have them on when you're driving, so I'd rather just not have them on. And to be honest with you, other locos that I have cab lights with, I seldom use the cab light feature in any case, so I'm not really that bothered. I just wanted the head code lights to work as they should, the high intensity light as it should, and the sounds to work as they should. And now I'm one happy camper. So if you do decide that you'd like to speak to Paul about this, there is a small charge, or there is a charge. I don't know how small it is, but then again, you'd have to send your loco. So again, how much that would. But from my point of view, he helped me out, and he done it for me out of the kindness of his heart, and I just cannot sort of say thank you enough to Paul for it. Like I said, I do spend a lot of money in there as well, but he's taken time out of his weekend to help me and to do this for me, and I'm very, very grateful, because if he didn't do that for me, then I wouldn't have the head code box working, because I just wouldn't have sent it back to Lady Man Biffo. So now let's show you on the track what it looks like with the lights working, and also the sounds, so you can see the decibel level. Now I'm going to tell you now, it's definitely a lot louder than the Coastal chip. So let's spin you around and get you down on the track. So just before we do that, just have a look at that head code box. It's got the 52 number on it, which is number for Alton Ace, and it looks really good. I think it actually looks nicer than the ones that come on it. And on the back, it's still got the original ones, and I don't like it. I think it looks a bit odd, to be honest. I'll just show you the back end. If you look on the back here, it kind of looks like there's a bit of a gap. So it doesn't look flush, and it looks like it's recessed. Now, if I look at this one, which I've got on the back, you can see that this is right on, it's flush. So I think the one on the left looks better. You can't really tell. Let me just move this one forward a bit so you can sort of see. Oh, sorry, I'm not looking at the 50. So I think the one on the left, that's the decal that I put on it. I think that looks better. I think the one on the, you can definitely see it. You see that's really flush. If we get right up on here, you can see that this is recessed. And then when the lights come on the back, it sort of comes surrounds, and we'll have a little look at that as well afterwards. So as you can see here, I've got the high intensity light on. And if I go to function 19, it switches on the head code box, and it actually works without going out. If I whiz you round to the back of the locomotive, you see that there is no tail lights on the head code box, because it's simulating like it's pulling a load. Now, if I then switch off the head code box and go to function 21, what he's done now on function 21 is he's done it that the head code box works at the front, but so does the rear tail lights. And that's basically because it's running light. So now it's time for another sound test. So keep an eye on it and you'll see what happens. Start with the diesel. Okay, maybe not, we won't start with the diesel, because I didn't change the... right, okay, right, we'll start with the diesel now. There we go. So you can see with that same speaker, it's got exactly the same speaker in it, and the results are different. I don't know whether it's the decoder or not. The one in the Pullman is a version 4, this one's a version 5. I don't know if it's to do with the quality of the recording, but either way I'm happy with both, don't get me wrong. But I just wanted to show you the difference. I mean, you can see that this is well over the 70s just idling, whereas the Coastal has gone up to mid to late 60s, which it wasn't doing on the original speaker. So either way, there's an improvement to both locomotives in different ways. But yeah, you can see just what the difference is in the sound level between the two. But like I said, now it's kind of like you can make your choice now. You kind of got a more of an informed decision as to which chip you'd like to go for. Definitely the Lego Man Biffo is definitely louder than my Coastal chip, but whether or not you buy a latest version lock sound decoder, whether that sound will be better, I don't know. I think maybe if I put an EM1 speaker in that, it might even be louder still, but I'm happy enough with what's in that. And also the other thing is that the Southwest Trains is a Dapol, and it's got newer motor in it, newer technology. It's a lot smoother, it's a lot quieter. Whereas this one, the Hornby Railroad, is a bit more clunkier. It's not as refined, so you can still hear the rumblings of the motor underneath the sound because it isn't as quiet or as smooth as the Dapol 73. So at this point, I'd like to say thank you for watching my video. I hope you found this insightful, and I hope you've, just got something out of it. I'd like to say a massive thank you once again to Paul at my local model shop, because without him I wouldn't have had the lights working on my Dapol 73, and it's just amazing that they're both the Pullman and the Southwest Trains are now running to how I want them to run. So I'm really, really pleased with that. Whether I eventually swap out the EM1 speaker, swap out that bass reflex for an EM1 is still to be debated, but I'm really pleased with both. So until the next time, like I said, it's goodbye from me, Susanna, and I live with trains. So take care. Bye bye.